on this issue. Well, moving on to our next focus now. In the words of South African anti-apartheid activist and politician Nelson Mandela, a responsive government is one that is sensitive to the needs of its people and takes steps to alleviate them. In a display of this, the House of Representatives has asked the Nigeria Electricity Regulatory Commission and the distribution companies to reverse the tariff hike for Band A customers while recommending a return to status quo. Now, the lawmakers also resolved to conduct a probe into the incessant hike in electricity tariff, and the NERC had earlier announced the increase in tariff to 225 naira per kilowatt for Band A customers. Tunde, your perspective on this matter, because, you know, when this happened, the Nigerian government or the minister said that this is to improve operations of the power sector. But with this arrangement or with this demand from the House of Reps, do you see any likelihood that there might be a reversal?
Well, I think the House of Reps, yes, it is never too late, but they are just being, I'm surprised they have just been unnecessarily reactive. They have seen this thing coming about 3 months ago. It has happened. Why is it now that they are making that particular decision? Because one thing that people fail to know is that people used to say educationally advantaged area, and some areas are educationally disadvantaged. But out of the so-called educationally advantaged area, there are some areas that are educationally disadvantaged. Out of the so-called people on Band A, that you increase from 66 naira, it was increased from 60 naira per kilowatt to 225, which is about over 300% increase. There are some people there that are even struggling to pay that 66, and you take it up to 225. I expect the House of Rep to have done something before now. But now that they have done it, I also want to believe that there has to be more engagement. Because if the NERC, when they transmit power, when TCN transmit power to the NRC, to the DISCOS, they will ask for their money. If they give you 2,000 kilowatts for a particular area, they are not interested in whether you are able to distribute the money or not. You pay them at the end of the month. So the thing now is that we should be realistic about the economic situation in this country. This is more or less a political decision. And the House of Reps has to engage the Ministry of Power, because the NERC and TCN cannot act on their own. TCN is still holding what is happening in Nigeria. They give it to NERC and they give it to the DISCOS. Right. So what is happening is that the total tariff, even including Band A, Band B, Band C, Band D, you cannot just categorize like that, because at this particular point in time in Nigeria, when people are struggling to get fuel, when people, these are the measures that contributed to the high cost of living in Nigeria today. So yes, what they have done is good, but how do they follow it up? How do they impress it on the NRC to begin to have a routine on this particular thing? Because like I said, not all those people that you categorize as in Band A are comfortable people. Not every one of them is comfortable. And when you increase the price for electricity, the price for fuel is already over the rooftop. So how do you expect people to manage? Most of the industries or companies that are situated within that particular area, they will find it difficult to survive. And at the end of the day, it's not so easy to even go and buy diesel now. So the thing is that, yes, the House of Reps has done something, but let them follow it up by actually engaging the Power Ministry. Right. Let us know what is the cost to Nigeria of the increment from 225. If they are saying that 225 is too much, what are they suggesting to the NERC? Because it is being run as a business now. TCN, when they give it them power, they ask them for money. So what is the cost? How can we get to a middle level whereby, yes, if they are not paying 66, is it 110 you want them to pay? Because they are also generating money. It is a money-making venture, both the NERC, TCN, and the DISCOS. It's a money-making venture now. But at the same time, government has to intervene one way or the other to bring things down. Because it is not only residents that are living in that area. There are some people who are living in that area that are not, that are factories, that are operating. Right. And when you are asking them to pay such much, they will pass it down to the customers. Already the cost of living in Nigeria is unbearably high. So the House of Reps, they have to take it to the Senate. Like the way the National Assembly reacted to the President's bill. If they have been doing that all this time, perhaps the tension in Nigeria will have come down. Let them always react or preempt things before it happens.
Right.
Anything that happens to the majority of Nigerians, the downtrodden that are along the road, because there are many people who are on band-aid that are poor people, and you are asking them to pay.
Right. CKN, you know, from what you said so far, no doubt this is what it expected, actually, if we are to ensure that, you know, we have regular power supply, but it should be done in a fair process. But would you say perhaps there wasn't due consultations enough? Because from what the House of Reps is saying, that this tariff hike implementation should have been done in phases. So what would you propose as an alternative if this reversal is meant to be?
The first question I want to ask, is this an order or is it advisory? We have to establish that first and foremost. If it's an order, that means that NERC and the DISCOS are supposed to obey. If it's not an order, that it means that it's advisory. If it's an order and the DISCOS and NERC refuse to do that, what are the mechanisms I'm going to use in order to enforce that order? Those are the fundamentals. But let me tell you, my sister, it's a waste of time. Complete waste of time for me. There have been time and time again, over and over again, that the Senate and the House of Reps have issued such order and nothing happened. And the help one didn't fall. So this for me is just rhetoric. They are just, they've gone on break now. So even if NRC refuse to do that, what will happen between now and when they resume? I don't want to believe that. With all due respect, you know, it has gotten to a point where we as citizens are supposed to look up to our leaders and say, they are there to represent us, they are there to represent our interest. If such an order is given by the Parliament in United Kingdom, it will be obeyed. If such an order is given by the Parliament in the United States, it will be obeyed. Let me give a critical example. About 2 weeks ago, that was Donald Trump was shot at and almost killed. One of the arms of the Parliament called the director of Secret Service, and they were questioning. At that place, they said it was a bipartisan. Each of them said, "You must resign, sir." They were asking a question. This one, they said, "Madam, you must resign. If you don't resign, we will resign you." Within 24 hours, what happened? The woman treated it all well, honorably. We've seen several probes by the National Assembly, including this sector we are talking about. Have you forgotten into the Lumelu probe? Into the Lumelu probe now. Billions and billions and billions of naira. And at the end of it all, what happened? The one that happened, the NDDC, of the matter and shut down the mine. Even the minister of the minister, is it not the senior president presently? Now, to me, the issue for me where we should be focusing now is the fact is that how do we improve power supply in Nigeria?
Right.
Those should be the fundamental for me. Listen attentively. For goodness sake, this is a country we are hovering between 3,000 and 4,000 and 4,500 megawatts of power. That is all we have to hear. And have you asked yourself, in the last few months, the number of collapse that will be having within the power sector? If you understand what I'm trying to say. So those are, if a country of over 220 million, we are just distributing and sharing 4,000 megawatts, when South Africa with less population has under 55 to close to about 60, 70,000. And they say it's not enough because they are complaining. There are some certain places in South Africa, people are still complaining they don't have power. That should be the fundamental for me. Tell me how we're going to improve. There was a government that came, the last government told us that every year they are going to add 10,000 megawatts to the national grid. Instead of adding, they removed. If we have had 10,000 megawatts each year during the Buhari regime, by now we would have had about 80,000 megawatts. We won't be complaining. But no single thing was added, no single thing. So those are for me. But for the Shylock and these people that are, they put people like me on band A. You can imagine what I said. This so-called band A will see that I don't get power up to 8 hours, and they are charging me. And I say they are charging me. I don't even know who to cry.
Let me quickly add that I understand that we got a message that the tariff, according to the government, is important because the sector needs liquidity, and the last tariff increase was done in 2020.
Let me drop on that. Let me drop on that. There is no country in the world that government does not subsidize things. Petroleum gets subsidized, agriculture gets subsidized, electricity gets subsidized. What is it that Nigerians are enjoying? Even the one that we are producing.
Free air.
The free air, they will soon tax it. So that is what we should be asking ourselves. So to improve the same, is it not the same minister that asked us to be putting off our freezer when we are going at that? Because we are not serious. We are not serious. By now, I'm supposed to see a roadmap from the Minister of Power,
right,
telling us that between in the next 2 years, this is where we're going to be. In the next 4 years, this is where we're going to. And we have to benchmark him based on his promise.
Right.
Those are the fundamentals. And that is what I think that the president also expects from most of these ministers. Not just telling me that the 4,000 now, how many people will share 4,000, say?